Sometimes I think the hardest part of being creative is getting used to it. First and foremost, thank you so much to everyone here in the room who invited those children. First and foremost, thank you, my hearts. To everyone here in the room who has supported me, who has encouraged me, and who has really pushed me to grow since I've come here to Colorado. This has never been more home than anywhere. Thank you to everyone who has ever appreciated the importance of a poem, or the freedom to express exactly what you feel, exactly the way you want to. Thank you all for being here today. I am so grateful for the opportunity in front of me to work with such a varied group of people in connecting poetry and bringing more presence to poetry in our region. The potential that we each have as poetry lovers to impact poetry in this region. Each one of us is so important. Thank you to the Poet Laureate Project and all of its interesting and invested partners. Thank you, Sue Hammond, Jim Chiletti, and the rest of the Poets Laureate. Thank you. To Luke Sissel and all the participants of the Here community and its partners, to the young people and poets that I've had the privilege of working with. And I would be remiss if I failed to mention the unconditional champion of my partner Ian and his family. Thank you very much. I've always found an elegance and lyricism in language that has had the ability to transform me. The first persuasive speech I had to give in an oratorical contest as a sophomore in high school, I opened with Arthur William O'Shaughnessy's poem. And my motivation for writing that poem and beginning that piece was I was really tired of being picked on as a band geek. And there was a young field hockey player in my class who burst into tears at the recitation of that poem and never made fun of another musician again. We're friends on Facebook, it's been 20 years. So thank you for bringing that today. It was beautiful, David. When I was young, poetry became a playground of verbal athleticism. It was more fun and more engaging and more challenging than playing foursquare and jumping hurdles on the soccer field. Poor Ian, when he and I are having discussions, I always remind him that he shouldn't have chosen to fight with me with my weapon of choice. A pen is a weapon and a wand, and poetry is where beauty and bravery meet. Despite my blatant aversion to rules, there is a rarely changing list that I keep writing for myself at the front of every one of my journals. It's a practice I've had for about 10 years. As I've been thinking about how I can best serve this appointment over the next 2 years, I keep coming back to that list because it's a good set of general guidelines for myself. Rule 1, write. There's time to edit later. Or maybe there's not. But either way, you have to dive in somewhere, and you have to take a step, and you have to act, and that's the first time you put pen to paper. That reminds me to be urgent, to be necessary, to do the thing, whatever that thing is, and to encourage other people to do that thing too. Do the thing. Why not do the thing? My second rule for myself is to break down boundaries. As Poet Laureate, I really hope that I can build stronger relationships and bridges through our widely diverse arts communities. I hope that I'm able to confront a moderate amount of growth in myself. Rule 3 reminds me of my own advice to others about the craft of poetry, that if you want to be a better poet, You need to read more, listen more, and share more. To write is also to not speak. It is to keep silent. It is to howl noiselessly. My fourth rule is to be a surprise. I'm not sure how to prepare you for this one. I rarely know what to expect of myself. My fifth rule, my last rule, is to dig, to be vulnerable, to provide a safe space for other people to be vulnerable and unearth their own archaeology, to dig into myself, confronting the hardest things through writing and writing through them, to dig into this community, nurturing strong roots that already exist, and planting new seeds to cultivate and enjoying this hubris which we share. Thank you so much for this charge. I'd like to share a couple poems. I'm gonna come out here. Many poets are beautiful cynics, wearing the jaded robes of their teen angst with all the purple grandeur that velvet, ermine, crowns, and royal egos used to muster. Most poets I've met are prepared to present a poem of personal perfection, pieces persistently prone to provide a positive reception. But the preening self-prestige and the teeming self-perception turns too many poets into prom kings. It is ironic, as Morris said, to pilgrim the change from poetry's peasant to the opposite range where poetry's princes are begging to be my liege. I challenge them. Ask me a question, tell me a story, or give me a kiss. If you ask for my performance, I will cringe. All the same, most poets are players in this wordsmithing game, so I wrote it in 4th grade with sugar-rimmed lips and stars in my eyes, 26 letters to garnish the skies. A beautiful comet dances elegantly, falls gracefully. Heaven-sent iridescent juggernaut, kaleidoscope of lunar magnificence. Nighttime's opulent paradise quietly rockets through the stars tonight. Unearthly variegations whirl into the xanthous yellows of morning. Zoom. Or tell me a story. Tell me a story like novels are written on caskets just after twilight's past, midnight's dance to the dawn. My memory longs for immortal gestures like bright wilting flowers in front corner pockets, and instead we recall each other in broken breast lockets, but the bones of our poems could hatch passion birds, launch phoenix words, and write Icarus back to the sun. Give me a kiss. Let truth blister your tongue. Those who request the sanctity of lips are rarely those ready to worship. But the poet who mattered wrote stories off stage, left questions unanswered until the last page said, when I breathe into your neck, I feel a bit of Israel. So exhaling desert into a shoulder oasis, and living on a faith without words. Many poets are beautiful cynics, but they have a tenderness, I believe in. Thank you. I had a show in Philadelphia last Christmas, and my eldest nephew, James, who's 23, 24, came to that show in Philadelphia, And it was the first time anyone in my family had ever seen me perform in 20 years of doing this. I think he must have gone home and chided his parents, because this year at a show in Philadelphia, they came. Words on burying parents. You now belong to a club called the Natural Order of Things. It is little comfort, and though not raw forever, the wound will never heal. Do not run from your grief. Do not try to put your grieving behind you. Grief is a lasting testimony to worth. Lament is a holy part of life. Lament is a love song. Perhaps one day, all love songs won't end in laments. Before she departs, tell your mother it is okay for her to go. Speak the words aloud to her beautiful, suffering vessel. Release your hold and feel the universe expand by one. At the funeral, when your father's wavering grip surprises you, accept and cling to his unfamiliar hand. This is the lesson in vulnerability that you have never learned. Know that when it comes time, you will be ready to let him go. When it comes time, you are not ready to let him go. So you cry. You cry until you can't inhale. You cry until you choke on desperation. You cry until you clutch for the silence left behind you on the cliff from which you cannot stop falling. See now, a world hidden to dry eyes. You confront a neverness that is so absolute it consumes your every instance, rendering even your most unblemished memories soggy. Never again to be here with us, never again to embrace, never to share a meal with us. Questions you have will never be answered. Never again will she apprehend the world quietly. Never again will his fingers nurse geraniums from the earth. No, you will bury yourself on that day. You will be lowered by gardeners on squeaking straps into that ominous dry hole, curious neighbors looking on, everything stilled, only wind rustling books. It will be you over whom they slide that great slab with a heaviness ready to combust. It will be you unto whom they shovel dirt. It will be you who is left behind after wiping eyes and reading psalms. You now have one more thing in common with your siblings. The biggest thing you had in common with your siblings is now gone. So you visit the grave, because pinks will ripen into purples, and yellows will rot to brown. Orange will sing hallelujah. Fruit bruised blue on the ground. You will recognize all the things you knew before and remember delighting in them. Mown lawns will always remind you of Father, and Mother's Day will always hurt. You will delight in the things you knew before, but without a certain zest. Passion will be ever sobered by the somber everness of loss. The wind in the oaks abides. Always bring flowers.